Hey, good afternoon, everybody.
Hey
Welcome to
everyone.
Lab. Here with Andrea and our special guest, Elliott. Um, so again, as always, just comment if you're on YouTube or Facebook. Just comment, and we'll see your comments as well as that's where your questions will go. So, what do we got for the swag deal today, Andrea?
All right, so today's swag promo is going to be hashtag security. So if you're here, put in hashtag security and you'll be
Sounds
entered
ominous.
to win. And it does, but I promise it has something to do with our open lab today. Just put hashtag security and you'll be entered to win either our swag bag or our $50 Amazon gift card. So make sure you put
All right,
hashtag security.
hashtag security.
Hmm.
All right, so you guys know that we always reference Roadhouse, so if you go to the Double Deuce in Joplin, it's nice to have a good cooler in your corner, like Dalton, our hero, everybody's hero. So, he's somebody that keeps watch on the place and directs the bouncers on how to take care of the unruly unwanteds. So for Inventory Lab, we have the software version of a cooler, and that's what Elliott does. He's our software development manager, and so what part of his tasks are he kind of directs the bouncers, aka the developers, where to go, and so part of that is with security. So he's joining us today to talk about some upcoming security changes, why they're needed, and some other stuff. So welcome in, Elliott.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. Hi, everyone. Again, my name's Elliott. I've been with InventoryLab now for not quite 6 years. I'm a software development manager, so I have developers that report to me. My team is the one that keeps the proverbial wolf at the door when it comes to security. And we wanted to talk a bit about that today, partly because we have some initiatives that we've been working on, and partly because there's just been an uptick in hacking across the software industry. There's a lot of interest from outside parties on everyone's software right now. So we are constantly getting probed and prodded and attempted hacks on our software. And it's something we deal with on a weekly basis. It's something we talk about on a daily basis. And we want to start socializing the idea to our customers more. We want to, one, get you guys practicing better habits, two, let you know that we are working behind the scenes to keep everything that, you give us your information secure and private, and just give you a little bit of behind the scenes look at what we do day to day to deal with that. So I'm gonna share my screen. I've got a very brief PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll open it up for any security related questions.
Awesome.
Let's see.
It's pretty easy to get lackadaisical about that stuff now.
It is, especially when you get into a routine. Routines are kind of what catch people the most, and it's oftentimes not, like a very sophisticated breach that does someone in. It's usually something silly like reusing passwords, sharing passwords, just not being, practicing good security hygiene.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit about that. Let's see. I think you're seeing the wrong screen here, aren't you?
Oops.
There you go. Oh,
That's right.
I'm trying.
There we go.
All right. Are you guys seeing
Security at Inventory Lab.
You don't see the overview on the right-hand side, right?
we do see the overview.
All right. That's what I thought. How about now?
There, perfect.
All right. I swear I'm good with computers. Okay. So like I said, we're every day we're experiencing people basically trying to hack our systems. And so it's something that we want to talk about. And I'm going to go over what we're doing behind the scenes, things that we do on a day-to-day basis and how we react to situations like being hacked, what's coming down the pipeline that might affect you guys as the users, and then what you can be doing. It's really simple stuff that can make, a 10x factor in your overall security. So I'll start with what we're doing. So at the heart of it all, it starts with my team and the developers that are programming InventoryLab's code. And so we do internal audits. So we hack ourselves first. Most of our developers have been through their own hacking course where they are taught how to hack. common vulnerabilities. And we have a full software suite. It's the same tooling that most professional hackers use. So we have that here at InventoryLab, and we use it on our own code basis to find vulnerabilities. And one, it helps us find stuff before anyone else, and two, it helps us assess any breaches we're concerned about with the same tooling that hackers do. We do extensive code reviews. So if we have a large change or a sensitive change that's going out, more than one developer has his or her eyes on it. So we sit down as a team and we go over code together. And Jeff, like you were saying, sometimes it's complacency that gets you, and the same holds true for developers. When you've been coding something for 2 weeks straight, it's easy to forget the really benign stuff that turns into a security vulnerability. And so that's why we get another set of eyes on our big code changes before we release them. Security is our zero priority here. So if we do have a security issue, we drop everything, and any project work or feature work that we're working on is shelved until we patch the security holes. And that's not just 40 hours a week, that's 24/7. So we'll be working on a Sunday night to patch any security things that we were aware of if we have to. And then for those of you that have been with us for a very long time, our code has evolved, our software has evolved over the last, 7 or 8 years now. And that's usually, the old code is usually where security vulnerabilities occur. As technology progresses, the new stuff gets harder and harder to hack, but the old stuff, hackers have had decades now to figure out how to hack it. And so we're consistently upgrading our legacy code, our old stuff, and rewriting it, or just coming back and patching it until we can rewrite it. From an external perspective, we pay professional penetration testers to pen test our software. So it's not just us trying to hack or break our software. We actually pay people that are, that do this for a living. They come through and they get paid if they find vulnerabilities, basically. And it's a way for us to engage the hacking community without, it being nefarious. So they disclose what they find to us, and then they get paid for it. We have basically a 24-hour resolution time. So we are yet to have anything be disclosed to us that we haven't fixed within 24 hours. That's serious. And usually it's closer to 3 hours. So we will, like I said, drop everything and try and turn around a patch as quickly as possible. From an internal perspective, we practice very good security hygiene here. So all of our employees, our customer champions, our administrators, our developers, whenever possible, we require two-factor authentication. So they can't log into our internal software we use, like our ticketing software. All of that requires access to our employees' phones to get in. So you can't, access it if you're basically not in front of one of our employees' cell phones. Any sensitive data, we either don't store or we store in a very secure manner. So it's encrypted if it's something really important like a password, but other stuff like credit card information, we don't store just because we don't want that on site and we don't want to create an attack surface for that information. So we either hand that off to like a banking vendor that will store it in a PCI compliant way, or we use it and lose it and we don't store it. The same holds true for like logging. We intentionally don't log sensitive information so that it can't persist on some file store somewhere waiting to be discovered. And then we do have a tremendous amount of logging behind the scenes. So everything that our employees do, either as part of their workday job, or if they do some work on behalf of one of our customers, let's say in a role of a customer champion. We log that, and we don't actively monitor it, but we have it for when we need to go back if we see something suspicious. We just had an incident last week where one of our CCs noticed that we were getting logins from out of the country, and that was something that we investigated. It turned out to be a virtual assistant doing work on behalf of some of our customers, but that's the kind of stuff that we use logs for. So we can hunt that down, see what they're doing, see how much they've done, make sure that, the IP address they're supposed to be coming from is the one that our customer expected. And then we also do that for customer activity. So we have, if for whatever reason there's some weird stuff going on with one of our customers' accounts, we can usually wind the tape back and see what the scope of that was. Again, we don't use it unless there's a concern, but we do have it available to us. So what's coming? We do have some changes that our customer base will notice. We're working internally consistently on making changes that won't affect users externally, but we do have some stuff that you're going to notice coming up. One is two-factor authentication options. So we are going to give our customers the option to require a code on their phone to log into our software. That's in the near future. That's coming. We're going to start doing some password interrogation and helping users pick good passwords. So there are ways that we can see if passwords have been compromised before, or if it's not strong. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second because we've had very limited visibility to your passwords. But we're gonna try and help customers pick good passwords. We're going to vastly expand our penetration testing efforts. So we're actually engaged with a third-party company right now and a security consultant that will help us get a consistent pen testing team to, as we push out changes, to come hit it, try and hack it and attack it. They're contractually bound, and they're doing it all in good faith, and they'll get paid if they find vulnerabilities. But the idea there is to basically have a community of hackers constantly watching, so that we can focus our resources on building this stuff. So we'll be working on that in the near future, and then we're talking about security, automated security reviews. So we're going to actually run all of our code before it gets compiled and built and pushed out to the internet. We're going to run it through some automation that basically it's using essentially code to check code for flaws or vulnerabilities in an automated way. I'm going to walk back to password interrogation. So we have a very, very brief window where we can see your password, and that's when you first sign up. After that, we can't ever get back to it. You're the only person that can access that data again. So that interrogation will happen as you're either changing your password or updating it, because that's the only time we'll ever be able to tell you if it's strong or not. After that, it's encrypted 6 ways from Sunday, and we won't be able to, we have no idea what your password is at that point forever after. I'll keep going. And Jeff, let me know if there's any questions popping up, because I don't see the chat right now. Please.
I'm not seeing any questions in the chat, but I have a question about the password interrogation. Is there like some sort of database that you check it against, or is it like a tool that you use where you can tell that the password has been used before or compromised?
Yes. So we haven't decided if we're going to hook up to that, because we need to do a security audit of that integration before we commit to handing it off to another service to validate if it's strong. But yes, there are, and I'm going to talk about it because, and it's a good question, Andrea, because you as a user can actually run all of your own emails through it, and it will tell you if it's been compromised or not. One of the things, another thing that we have available to us is, and every hacker has the same thing available to them, is basically password dumps. So, all the password hacks and breaches that have happened in the industry are basically compiled, and there are dark web websites that will sell these lists, and they become publicly available. And so what has happened is, over time, hackers have basically created lists of the most commonly used passwords, right? So don't use, winter 2022 as your password, because that's the first thing they're going to try. And so they have these lists, and we have many megabytes of these lists that are just publicly available now, of the most commonly used passwords. And so what they do is they run them through, once they figured out what your email is, they run, basically keep trying to log in, brute forcing with these commonly used passwords. And so that's one of the things that, one of the most common ways people get compromised is they use one of those common passwords, and then it's really easy to hack an account that way. And that's one of the reasons two-factor authentication is so important, because even if they get the password right, they need the code from your phone to get in, and it takes some of the the burden off of the password itself.
Okay, yeah, that answered my question perfectly, because I was wondering how they got that and where they would get all those, passwords from. So just random password dumps of commonly used passwords. That's wow.
Yeah, and there's programmatic ways to access it now in Chrome. The Chrome web browser has actually started doing that natively. So when it sees you entering a new password into a password field, Chrome itself will actually squawk at you and say, "Hey, that password has been compromised in a breach."
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool stuff, and it's something, like I said, we're talking about integrating with ourselves. So I'll keep moving if there's nothing else. Andrea, Jeff?
No, that was all my questions.
Cool. Okay, so security really starts with you, and most breaches aren't because of some sophisticated hack that bypass security features in software. Usually it's social engineering, or it's just being lazy, or just not paying attention, reusing passwords, sharing passwords. So a common one that we see at InventoryLab is you're an account owner, but you have someone doing work on your behalf, and you give them, passwords to your primary account. And that's just a terrible practice. We have an employee account feature where you can give them their own account and their own username and password, and that's what your users should be doing in that case, but they don't. And so we can't control, if we can't save you from yourself. If you're going to give your primary account password away, there's nothing we can do except shut your account down if you have a problem, or if your VA loses the sheet of paper that they have it on. Those are things that, it's really hard to unwind that and walk that back. The toothpaste isn't going back in the tube. Mm-hmm. So that's number one recommendation I have right now is, if you have someone doing work on your behalf at a prep center, or, like I said, a VA, create an employee account for them, and restrict their access. There's some other really great benefits to that, like you can control what they can see. So if you don't want them to see your profitability reports, or you don't want them to see your sourcing history, you can restrict that. So it's good all around. Number two is don't reuse passwords. So this comes back to the data breaches, where if you use the same winter 2022 password here and Facebook gets hacked, well, now they're going to be able to tie your email to a password because of that Facebook breach. And then, hey, I wonder if Andrea uses that same email to log into InventoryLab. And sure enough, that's just the second most common way that you can lose your access to your account. So don't do that. Use a password manager, or a strong password store like LastPass or something. So you don't even know what your own passwords are. That's the best thing you can do. And just let it enter your passwords for you, and just have one, basically that reduces your attack surface. So they'd have to hack your password manager, and you just watch that like a hawk and never share that information.
So for my password manager, I actually have 2-factor authorization turned on for that as well. So good luck getting into my password manager, which the passwords I don't know. I don't even know my own passwords. So good luck.
That's perfect. That's like music to my ears. And those companies that build that software to store your passwords, they have one focus, and that's what they do, right? They store it really securely, and it's right now it's like the industry best practice is to just use that. So I'll leave it at that.
Do you think the free ones are just as good as the ones that you pay? I know that I have one password, and I've been using it for so long that now I just pay the monthly for it because I might as well support it. But I know there's a lot of free ones out there.
Yeah, I would recommend going with one of the big ones. Another place that people often get compromised is, you have these smaller fly-by-night companies that spin up something like a password store, and they do that in good faith or good intentions. But what can happen is they use tooling or software that has been compromised, right? So I've seen that a lot in the software industry. We saw it a lot with mobile apps for a while there before Apple started and Android started cracking down on it, where developers would build these mobile apps and they would use tooling like open source coding libraries, and those were put out there, like Russia did and China both did it quite a bit, where they would build these really great tooling libraries that were actually really helpful, and they would make them free. The catch was that buried deep inside that code library, there was a vulnerability, that a backdoor that they entered, right? So now all of a sudden they were able to harvest your user data off your phone. And so, that's, as a small shop, that's pretty common to use those open source libraries because it saves you time. So if you want to use these bigger ones like LastPass or 1Password, like the common ones, just don't use some weird one that you found on a forum. But the practice in general is just really good. So the third thing is, when we do roll out two-factor authentication, that's like the best. That is going to make your account so much more secure. If you can enable that and work that in your business process, I highly, highly recommend it. We have a saying that it's not if you get hacked, it's when you get hacked. Chances are everyone here has been hacked and they don't know it yet. 2FA, is what's standing between, that one hack and like everything unwinding on you. Because if they get their hands on a password list, that's game over. If you don't know about it, you don't have time to change your password, they go and harvest everything. Whereas, the two-factor authentication would prevent them from getting it, even if they did have the password. Number 4 comes back to what Andrea mentioned. So there's a website, Troy Hunt, who's he's a security researcher. He's probably the biggest name in the security industry right now. He's worked for tons of huge corporations, and now he consults. He has created a service called HaveIBeenPwned.com, and he aggregates all the password dumps that happen, right? So when Facebook gets hacked and hackers dump all that information out there on the dark web, he goes and gets it, he puts it into a database in a secure way, and then he lets you enter your email, and he runs through all of those dumps and says, yes, you were part of the the Twitch hack, or you were part of the Facebook hack, and he won't tell you what passwords are or anything, but he will say, yeah, that email's been compromised. And you can do that for free. You can sign up he offers that for free for users, and you can sign up to have your email on file with him. And so if it ever does become hacked, you'll get an automated email saying, hey, you were hacked. He's been offering this for years now. And it's one of the he's kind of the source of truth for this. So I recommend everyone going to that website right after this meeting and entering all your emails.
I just did that for an email I use for, some of these sites. Oh, you have to put your email in to get further access to read an article or something. So I have this one generic Gmail, and I just put it in there, and it's like pwned in 52 data breaches and found 5 pastes, whatever that means, 5 pastes.
That's a paste is basically where your either your password or your encrypted password was put out there. And so it's not just what was it breached, but is the password available?
Okay.
So I actually run all of our employee accounts through this regularly. I have the same, like I said, automated software that hackers have, and I run all the InventoryLab emails through it just to make sure that we haven't had a breach anywhere. And then the last thing is, if you see something fishy, there's a good chance it's fishy. We know that our emails, people try and spoof our emails. They try and spoof our website fairly frequently. They try and send out nefarious links from emails that look like they're from InventoryLab. That's the social engineering aspect that's really hard to combat. And the only good way to combat it is through education. So if you see something, ask. Our CCs are tuned into this, or customer champions are they're aware, and they have a direct line to my team. So if they see something funny, they send us a message, and we're on it right away looking at it. We treat that as very high priority.
Especially with the VA recent thing that was taken care of immediately.
Yeah.
I have a red phone back here. I just pick it up and
you enter the nuclear codes. And, yeah. So that is hopefully the first presentation of what will become many. I'd like to keep socializing this with our customer base, and I'm here. If there's my team is here, and we're going to continue to keep this as a priority for us, and If you have questions, please reach out to our CCs and they can get in touch with us and we can get your questions answered. But I'm happy to open it up right now. If anyone has any questions they'd like to type in, and I can try and answer them.
So we have one question from Ryan asking, let me show it here. What's the ultimate goal of a hacker when they might be trying to hack into InventoryLab specifically?
So most of the time, what we see is hackers are holding, the threat of a hack is the most valuable thing to them, and so things like ransomware or holding our company hostage is typically what they're coming after, right? So we value keeping you guys safe. They know we value that, and so that's what they often go for is the threat. So we haven't that we know of. We haven't had a breach where hackers gotten in and gotten customer data to this date. Things that would be valuable to them are like your sourcing information, where you're getting, if you're doing like retail arbitrage, where you're sourcing that product from, supplier information. That would be valuable to a small set of, bad actors, but on the grand scheme of things, that's the value of that is not as much as the value of compromising one of our systems to them. Mm-hmm. So it's typically like hey, we could compromise this and access communications between a customer champion and a customer, and that's the kind of stuff that they try and scare us with. Most of the time, what we see is it's all bark and no bite, but once in a while, there's some serious stuff that they find, and we address it. Like I said, that's the stuff where it's a turnaround within 24 hours. We fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like you hear about a lot of those. It almost makes you numb to the, oh, really? How bad could it be? Yeah, my email got compromised again. Big deal. But it could be very bad if you forget that you're using one of your common passwords or something like that, I suppose.
Yeah, and once you've figured out one username and password, then it's super easy to try that everywhere else. Right. I mean, they have software that just makes that automated. So you don't want to give them a thread to pull on. And, what's really scary is the situations where they can hold you hostage, like a ransomware attack. At that point, not only do you have to try and get out of the situation, but you wonder how deep their hooks are and if they're going to come back. Right. Could they execute the same attack, a year later, because they have, some, malicious code just sitting on a server somewhere. And so part of what we do and what we've prepped for are, redundancy scenarios where we just have to walk away from some hardware or from some, bad code and just rebuild. Right. And so we have intentionally put ourselves in a situation where we can basically rebuild everything very quickly from the ground up, from, a secure manner that, after a compromise. We've never had to use it yet, but, we do prep for that. Same with our database. Like if, someone happened to our multiple databases, if someone happened to do something malicious, like blow data away or compromise it, we can roll back, and we can restore that data to pretty much any time, point in time we want.
Huh.
That's crazy. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was affected in the Equifax breach, so I'm all out there. I'm full.
Yeah, same.
That was a big one, and that was a case where you should be able to trust a company that's storing that kind of information. They have a lot of PCI laws that they have to comply with, and that never should have happened.
Right, especially your social security number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was mine was leaked, so that stunk.
Nice.
Yeah, like I said, it's a matter of when, not if, most of the time. And the bigger you are, the bigger the target on your back. As InventoryLab has grown, we have seen a greater attack presence. Just because we get on the radar, we have more money, more customers, more problems.
Right.
Well, if you have any more questions for Elliott, get those into the comments field there. We've got it for a few more minutes, so let's see here. How common are those? You mentioned hacker teams at the beginning. Are there quite a few of those hacker teams that you can reach out to, or do you have certain ones that are recommended by the industry, or how does that all work?
So there's many different flavors of them. The best of the bunch are, ones that they work through like official programs. So we engage with companies that handle the tax implications of paying hackers, and for different countries to handle it for us. But they run communities where it's all hackers, and these hackers are basically scoring points, building reputation for hacking and doing it in an ethical way. And as they get better, as they discover more vulnerabilities, they basically climb the ranks. And these companies match them with companies like InventoryLab that are looking for certain types of hackers, right? So for us, it would be software as a service. And so anyone who's really, really good, has good reputation, they basically send them our way. They get access to our program that we create, and they go at it, and that's their specialty, and then they get rewarded for it. So that's the best situation that we can possibly be in. We also engage with a security consultant, and they have teams that will do like private penetration testing. So, it's basically a small company of hackers, and instead of outsourcing it and trying to get the best of the best talent, it's a team that focuses and spends a ton of time hacking. So we are engaged with a company like that. And then there are just random bounty hunters that will approach us at times and be like, "Hey, I found a security vulnerability. Would you guys be interested in buying it?" Basically. And most of the time the answer is no. Because we want to control the narrative, we want to control how it happens. And so we try and funnel everything through like the first one I mentioned, where it's, we know who these people are. They've gone through background checks. They have a great reputation. They make their living doing it. So there isn't their incentive is to be like ethical and turn things around really quickly when we have questions we need answered, when we need help retesting it after we fixed it. There's no incentive for them to like sell data or do something nefarious for it, because it would cripple their career. And so there's like, these are maybe three points on a spectrum, and there's everything in between. But we are actively trying to engage the premier end of that.
Very interesting. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other questions, but I'm trying to think if I have any more. I just didn't realize how much security mattered. I mean, I know how much it mattered, but I didn't know if we took all these steps. This is crazy.
It's something that we spend a lot of time on. Unfortunately, we'd rather be building features, and it's not a moneymaker for us. We always have to try and balance tech debt and infrastructure related tasks with building new things for our customers. And unfortunately, this trumps all of it. So, and security is not cheap. A security consultant these days is like $300 an hour. Wow. It's got to be one of the highest paying things you can do out there. But there's, when you need that expertise, that's, for us, that's nothing if it keeps us, airtight. It's worth it. So.
Yeah, very cool. Any other questions for Elliott before we move on? Not seeing any, but
not seeing any.
But
thanks.
Yeah,
that was very informative.
Yeah, super informative. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again in the near future.
Yeah, for sure. Always welcome.
All right, great. See you guys. Bye, everyone.
All right,
see you, Elliott.
Thanks, Elliott. Yeah, I had no idea the steps actually that they were taking. That was pretty interesting. All right, no Kim, obviously, so no Kim's corner this week.
No Kim, I miss Kim.
Not feeling very good, but she'll be back with us in a couple weeks, hopefully. So let's see, we'll get into some product updates.
Yeah.
Let me just share my screen here.
These are exciting product updates. I think so.
Yeah. Just have a couple, but all right. So the first one, Amazon sprung another sneaky one on us by requiring MSRP for books. So if you're a bookseller, you may have noticed that at one point some of the feeds were not going through, and there were issues there. They were being rejected, that sort of thing. And it was because there was no MSRP going through. for those feeds because Amazon didn't communicate that to anybody that it was required. So we had to find that out on our own. And so now that's included. So that's updated. So that should take care of those issues. And then we now have a ready to ship marking. If you've done live listing, if you list live, you got to be careful because when you put an item into, say this one of these was a live batch. When I put an item into a live batch, it can go into any of these working shipments. And so what you have to do as soon as your shipments were done, you would go to Seller Central, mark the shipment as shipped, and come back and click sync shipments. And then that would remove the shipment from here. And then you could go ahead and continue using that same live batch. But Amazon removed that from Seller Central, so you didn't have that option anymore. Again, that was another one that they kind of sprung on us and nobody knew of beforehand. So we had to scramble, but our developers were able to come up with an option. So what you do is you click on the 3 horizontal lines, the hamburger icon here. Click there, and then you mark it as ready to ship. You see it changes, you get a little truck there, and it says ready to ship, and it becomes a light blue color. So you can tell at a glance that these items are ready to ship or I've shipped them out. So items from a live batch won't get added to these accidentally. Now, say you're not quite done, you can always go back and change it to undo ready to ship status, and it goes back so you can add more items if you need to. But they were able to get that out. So that was a great update. So now we're not relying on Amazon for that. So
that was such a strange update. Such a very strange update, you know. Just
why
let me
would you
mark
get
it
rid
as
of that
shipped.
button?
I know. I don't know if they're trying to get closer to real time or what, but yeah, it basically marks it as shipped in Amazon once it gets scanned by the carrier. And sometimes it doesn't even get marked as shipped then. Sometimes it, you know, there can be something on the carrier's end where it doesn't carry through. So this feature is really awesome for a stopgap, you know, where you aren't adding on to something that may be waiting for your carrier to come pick up or, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there were even times where people have said, well, my shipment's already been checked in and it's still showing, you know, because it hadn't been updated in the system by Amazon. And that's kind of out of our control. We can't affect that. But now you do have the control, so you can at least mark it there. So, all right, now we're going to switch gears and all right, Tales from Support. What do we have?
Oh man, so Tales from Support today, we're talking about missing shipment costs on the inbound shipping page. And so basically this is another thing that Amazon did not update us with.
Thanks, Amazon.
Yeah, thanks, Amazon. So the way that we send your feeds to Amazon, it used to be in a flat file or an XML format of a file. So the payment reports, well, not a report, sorry, not a feed, it's a report. And they said this would be going to affect March 31st. However, we have seen certain customers that have already been updated. So they are being affected by this. So it doesn't, the new flat file V2 report is what it's called. It does not currently associate the inbound shipping cost with specific shipping IDs. And this is when shipping is purchased through Amazon, so through your disbursement. And because of this, accounts that only have the report type available won't see the individual shipment costs under the accounting inbound shipping page, which is where Jeff is right now. If you'll see all those zeros, this is our test account, so you won't actually see any entered, but normally we auto-populate this with the flat file XML or the XML reports that we receive from Amazon. And although they cannot be tracked through per shipment, the fees will still be accounted for on the for inbound shipping fees on the profit and loss report on your P&L. So that won't be, your P&L won't be affected, but sometimes you will want to manually enter your shipping costs on the inbound shipping page. And that's if you do not pay for your shipping through Amazon. So that's if you pay with usually a credit card or some other sort of shipment way. So what you're going to want to do is enter these manually if you pay your shipping through this is if you'll want to do this manually if you don't pay with your Amazon disbursement. And Jeff's going through right now. It's
Yeah,
pretty
just
easy
click
to
on the
do.
shipping cost, opens that up. You can add it in there, and then make sure you save it. So
yeah, always hit save.
at least they left it into the total in the profit and loss. That was nice, because there for a while we weren't sure if they were going to take it out entirely, so we wouldn't get it.
But it will still show up on your profit and loss report, luckily. It just won't be parsed out by shipment. That's the problem.
Yeah.
If you pay with your credit card or, without your Amazon payment. So yeah, that's it from Tales from Support.
All right.
So that's just affecting people sporadically at the moment. We do have until March 31st when they are going to switch everybody over. So we'll have some updated for you. We'll have something updated for you before then. So.
All right. Now, Amazon news.
Yeah, this one's a good. I found you found some really good articles for this week.
Oh, thanks.
The first one, yeah, advertising is.
It's pretty dry sometimes, so I apologize, but there's actually some good ones. Yeah.
This one is good, I thought. Advertising is masking Amazon's unprofitability. So without the high margin advertising revenue, Amazon's retail business is increasingly unprofitable. It was a break even as recently as 2015. Since then, as advertising revenue grew, so did Amazon's use of that growth to fund the rest of the retail operations. And if you scroll down, you can actually see the actual graph. You can see Amazon retail operating income and operating income without advertising. Look at that dip.
Man,
in Q4 2021. Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. That's a $24.8 billion loss, which is insane.
Dropping a bucket though to them.
Right, yeah, it's just that's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. But I just thought that was really interesting. Let's see. Wow. And then Amazon sold 600 billion in 2022 so far. And for you, it is March. I'm sorry, not March. It's February 17th. And
that's 2021.
Oh, 2021. Sorry. Yeah. I was like, how did they do 600 billion in a month and a half? Holy cow. I ordered, but I didn't think I ordered that much. So 2021, $600 billion. That's the total gross merchandise volume, including sales by Amazon itself and by the marketplace. So by sellers like you, that means it has doubled in 3 years. So Amazon Marketplace, that's sellers. You had the total of $390 billion in sales, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And according to the Marketplace Pulse, they estimate that based on Amazon disclosures, by Amazon, also known as first-party sales, where it would say, sold by Amazon, it's up 11% year over year, and a third-party marketplace sales, are up 30% year over year. So that's just.
Doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon.
No, I don't think so.
And right along with that, there we go.
Yep, the top 60,000. There you go. They've exceeded $1 million in sales in Amazon.
60,000 sellers. That's not a small number. But
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Not
I mean,
at all.
even the ones that chose like even 100,000, there's 350,000 sellers exceeding 100. Of course, that's not your profit, obviously, but still.
Right, just in
In terms
sales.
of sales.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. So the top sellers, 60,000 of them altogether. Or no, they're sold over $1 million in sales.
That's something.
I know. And then they had 3,000 sellers had more than $10 million in sales in 2021. So out of that 60,000, 3,000 had over $10 million in sales, that is crazy to me. That's so crazy. You know, you have to think of how many sellers there are out there, and
Yeah.
the fact that 3,000 of them have been able to make $10 million in sales, not in profit, but do $10 million in sales in just 1 year it's mind-boggling to me. Absolutely mind-boggling.
All right. Our next one.
Yeah, so
It's pretty
Shopify.
surprising. I didn't realize they'd grown that much.
Yeah, Shopify's on the up and up. They're growing. We get a lot of requests in the queue through Zendesk from users wondering when we're going to integrate with Shopify. And, it's on our list, it's on our roadmap, but we have to see where it will fit. But yeah, Shopify, this makes sense. It's 50% as large as Amazon Marketplace, which makes sense. Because the way Shopify works is, it's directly through their shop, as John mentioned last week. So that you can use Shopify. You might be using Shopify and you don't even know it. You might be buying something from Adidas and they're using Shopify. You might be using, some sort of service or good, and you're actually using Shopify, and you might not even know that you're using Shopify. So their marketplace has significantly grown over the past, since 2018, it looks like in the graph.
Yeah.
So yeah, Shopify, it's another highly requested feature that we get. So keep an eye out for the future, what our roadmap will bring. This only gives it more, articles like this just, help us even weigh in on our decisions even more. So
Yeah. Another opportunity.
Yeah.
This one I think is pretty funny. That'd be almost worth traveling for. But,
Oh my goodness.
so it's 417 feet, I think they said, which is going to make it the largest yacht in the world. And
No.
look at that thing.
Oh my gosh.
But where it's being built, it's behind. And I'm not sure why they chose. Maybe this is the only place that can do it. But they chose this place, and now to get this out from where it is, because it's kind of landlocked here, they actually have to dismantle this bridge, and so the residents are upset because where this is, the bridge was dismantled once before, and the leaders in the city said they would never do it again. But yet here they are, Bezos is paying them to do it, and so that they can get the yacht out. And so people have created this Facebook page where you can sign up, and you can sign this petition and join in by throwing eggs at the yacht as it's pushed up the river. So I think that's pretty hilarious.
I think it's funny. I wonder how many people are going to show up. It will definitely be on video. So if you don't make it,
Well,
And
there's 4,900 people that are going, it says here.
And
I can't read any of this. So.
And this is in
Sorry.
Rotterdam, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
in Rotterdam. So if you can't make it out to Rotterdam, you'll be able to probably see it on video, is what I'm guessing. So
Oh man,
the
I'm
world's
definitely gonna watch.
largest yacht, just crazy. Wow, 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 wow. All right, should we open it up to some questions from the audience?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see. It looks like Dave had a question.
Alrighty.
So Dave says, why does it take anywhere from 1 to 3 hours for listing to populate into Amazon after submitting FBA or MFN? It didn't used to take so long. Did something change? So we haven't been able to recreate this issue on our end. We have had a few users reach out to us about this, but all we can see from our end is that the feeds are being sent to Amazon without any errors being returned. So we don't exactly know why it's taking so long to populate into Amazon. If you could open up a ticket with us, though, we can try and do some more research. But Jeff, do you have
Really an
anything to
odd
say?
one. Yeah, it's really an odd one because we look at, we have several tools that we can look at the feeds and it shows Amazon accepting everything but then it's not updating in Seller Central. So we're not really sure what the deal is because like Andrea said, in our testing, we've been able to get those through and they do populate. So, but we haven't given up. I mean, yeah, more evidence, the better. So by all means, when you encounter it, let us know what the shipment ID was or batch name, those sorts of things, so we can track that stuff down. But yeah, that's really a strange one.
It is. And if you can even give us the time too, the time that you submitted the batch as well, that will help us immensely because, we will see in your account all the feeds being sent, what time they were sent at, whether they were accepted without error. So right now.
Also the time zone you're in.
Too. Right, exactly. Yeah, the time zone that you're in as well. Just so, because we don't know, what time zone you might be in. We're all over the country, so. But yeah, please open up a ticket with us with any screenshots you can provide and all those details, and we'll be more than happy to look into it. But so far, what we've been able to find is nothing on our end. But it may be an issue for higher volume sellers, perhaps. So, like, if you open up a ticket with us, we'll be able to see, how many MSKUs or items were included in that feed. And from there, we'll be able to kind of maybe determine if it is more of a higher volume seller situation or not. That's the only thing that I can really think of. I don't know. What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really odd one. And it's just cropped up recently too, I think. So
yeah, it's super recent.
Last few months, I believe it's when it started.
Yeah, because usually it shouldn't take more than 15 minutes, a half an hour at the most for merchant fulfilled listings. Sometimes it can take about a half an hour, but 1 to 3 hours is not typical at all. So this could be something that's even being done on Amazon's side, and we can't know though. So the more information you can provide us, it would be super awesome because we want to get to the bottom of this just as much as you do. Trust me. We don't want you to have to wait 3 hours to, go looking for your listings to go live or anything like that. So.
Yeah, Dave says it doesn't matter if he's listing 1 item or 200. So.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't have a current open ticket, Dave, if you could open one up so that we can look more into your account because it seems to be happening regularly to you. Yeah, you say it happens every time, so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else we got. Oh, there's one. Is there any way you can add expiration date after created a shipment on IL? Yes, if you have box content on for the batch, just go to the hamburger icon here, click on box contents, And if you need to enter a expiration date, you'll see an NA here. Just click there and then click the calendar icon or type it in. But anyway, when you pick the month and the year of the expiration, make sure you also click in the day and then click done. And then once you do that, then you want to make sure you transmit updated boxes because the expiration date information goes with box contents. So you want to make sure to resend that if you got an error on expiration date, because those box content feeds won't go through.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure to transmit the updated boxes again, and then that'll take care of it.
And then Scott C has a follow-up question. Is there any way to know an expiration date is required before putting it in the batch? Unfortunately, no. When Amazon only makes us aware of the expiration date error after you create the shipment and after you send over the box contents.
Yeah, because it's sent along with the box contents feeds, which are done when you've already assigned box contents. And so that's why we always say, before you even go into Seller Central, you should be waiting for the green success box to show up here. And then once you see that, you know everything went through fine and you can go take care of the rest of your shipment there. But if you see the red error message, that's when you'll see your expiration date error. So that's when you want to add it in here. But yeah, like Andrea said, we don't get it until that's sent. Certain things are always going to have an expiration date, like grocery items. Topicals, usually I'll have it.
Yeah, but every so often there'll be just some strange item that you didn't know requires an expiration date.
Yesterday, in fact, there was a person that was selling these robes. But in the title, the only thing I can guess is that Amazon, when they get these listings, they flag them. They have an automated flagging system. And so since the title had wheat and it had a couple of other words in it that you could also use in such like vitamins and those sorts of things, it may be the automated system picked up on those keywords and then automatically flagged it asking for an expiration date. So in those cases, you just got to reach out to Seller Central and make sure you ask for the FBA team specifically in your case, because you want to escalate it, because the first level of support's not going to be able to help you at all. So
yeah, it's unfortunate because we can't, unfortunately, as a third party software that works with Amazon, we cannot open tickets on your behalf, unfortunately. Yeah. They won't answer us if we're not the owner of the account, basically, is what it comes down to. So unfortunately, the onus goes on to the user, which is not ideal. We know it's really not ideal to deal with seller support. But unfortunately, we cannot do it on your behalf, and it really stinks, I know, but
yeah.
So we depend on a lot of users to reach back out to us after they've heard back from seller support, and sometimes that gives us some insight. But other than that, there's not really much we can do from our end, unfortunately. I wish there was more that we could do from our end, but there isn't. So that's why we aren't allowed to open up tickets on your behalf, unfortunately.
Yeah. We've tried it. It just, they always kick them back to us and ask for you to fill them out. So
yeah, that's basically what happens. And just a reminder for everyone to make sure you get some swag. Enter yourself for the swag. We're almost over here. Make sure you put hashtag security in the comments to be entered. One last announcement. Last call.
And Maybell, I see your question. If you've opened a ticket, they will get to your answer, but it could be that you need to rebind. Maybe it got stuck, and so you need to rebind on that. And let me just get to the right screen here, and then I'll show you. So you can try this while you're waiting for the answer, but if you go to your settings, click on your name in the upper right, go to settings, and then go to my account. Or you can just go to my account right from that menu, and then scroll down on the my account page. You'll see a thing that says rebind. Just click there. It'll walk you through that process to rebind your account, and that might jumpstart it. Sounds like it's been stuck there. So, but if that doesn't work, then well, let us know and we can reset that on our end. Okay, I'll get this set up here. Make sure I get the right hashtag.
Let's announce some winners. Thanks all for joining us today.
Yeah. You can only win once. Even if your name shows up again, it's just the way this thing works. So sometimes it duplicates, but let's get in there. So we have 10. All right. Sure got everybody. All right, here we go. Here's the first one. Oh, InventoryLab. What if we want our own swag?
Maybell Kubias. Congratulations, Maybell. So you're walking away today with a swag box, one of our special winter swag boxes. Let me just put the link here so you can send us your information where you want your swag box sent to. Let me see.
And while Andrew's doing that, I'll go ahead and hit the next one. All right, Dave Harrington.
Congratulations, Dave. So you'll also be taking home a swag box. Just send out your best email, or not email address, your best mailing address to support@inventorylab.com, and we'll get those swag boxes out to you. There's a lot of cool stuff in them, I promise.
Right,
it's
and
worth
our
it.
last swag box.
Scott C.
There we go.
Awesome.
We didn't have any duplicates that time, so that's good.
Yeah, that's always good.
I guess we got one more draw, though, don't we?
Oh, yeah, we're giving out an extra swag box today. Oh, no, we're giving out the $50 gift card. That's right.
Yeah, here we go. So here's the drawing for the gift card. Remember, if you've already won a swag box, sorry, I'm just going to draw again, but that's kind of cruel. Hopefully it won't happen. But
yeah.
Oh. Sorry, Scott.
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
We can't win.
We want our own money. Okay. I guess because we put that into the comments.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it would actually do that. Oh my goodness.
I'm not going to win InventoryLab. This isn't rigged, I swear.
No, it's completely random, actually.
All
right. Christina Ramsey Van Every, you have won the $50 gift certificate. So send us an email at support@inventorylab.com and let us know that you are the $50 gift card winner, and we'll get that sent to your email as soon as we can. So exciting stuff.
Yeah. Sorry we went a little over, but it was worth it, right?
Yeah, I thought it was worth it, especially for all those security questions. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea how important that. I mean, I know how important it is, but I didn't realize like what all went behind that. Like, holy cow.
A lot more work than I realized too. So, all right. Well, Andrea, thanks again for joining me. And thank you all for joining us. Appreciate you guys showing up, asking the questions, and participating. So,
yep, and just
in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and remember just to shoot us an email again at support@inventorylab.com if you were a winner from today. So,
all right. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.